This video will provide a tour through the content tool. We won't get too deep into how to organize contents and things like that, as that's explored in another video. However, we're going to go through what the different areas are, the key buttons, and lingo that is used throughout the content area. The content tool is one that's going to be used a lot, no matter what grade you're teaching or what course you're going through, as it's a place to put resources, lessons, handouts, all those types of things. It's a great place to organize content for your students. So it's one of the ones that's used the most in the VLE. I will note that we are only going to be looking at the lessons view or the new content experience. There is a way, at least at the time of filming this video, where you can still toggle to the old experience by clicking this down arrow and turning off the content experience. I do not recommend that. It's a little bit more complicated, and it's the reason that they've built out this whole new experience. And at one point, they're going to turn this off, where it's not even an option. So if you are looking at something that looks a little different when you're in the content area, it's because you need to click on this arrow and actually turn the content experience on. By default, this is what it should look like. Now, the content area is built out into two distinct areas. So there's this sort of container right here, and this is much like your filing folder or a filing system, if you think of it that way, where you're going to have folders and subfolders. And as you click on them and what's within them, they will display here. This is sort of your canvas of all of the things that you click on over here. So this is where students will see handouts or see web pages or those types of things. And I'll show in a bit how to expand this, because one argument is that this is, quite a small part of the page. There is a way to expand that out. So in order to start really to see some of the options, we have to first create a folder. And we do that just by clicking this plus button up here, which is new unit. I'm just going to call it unit 1. And that creates our first top level folder. And as it stands right now with this sort of eye icon with the cross through it, it means that I as the teacher can see it, but my students, if they came into the content area, they would not see it. And you can toggle that on and off just with this button right here. And you'll know that it's on because all of a sudden that eye icon disappears, and that means this is fully visible to students. You can toggle this on and off for anything within the content area, for individual files or full folders. Totally up to you. And the reason behind it is it allows you to kind of build out future content without your students seeing, the work in progress. Now, once I click on that folder, you'll see the blue line around it, and that suggests that this folder has been selected. You get two new options, and these are the two buttons we're going to explore because they both lead to important pieces. So we'll start within the Create New. So if we click Create New, these are all of the options of things I can add to that folder that I've just clicked on. Where I'm going to start is the subfolders. Now I'm going to be the first to say that as it stands right now, the naming system on these folders is not very good. I don't like the word new lesson because it would suggest that you should only use this if you are, teaching a lesson with this folder. Whereas really, this is just a subfolder to that top level unit folder. So this might be what I would put, my day 1 or a subtopic or something. So when I click that, let's just call it day 1. It will create a subfolder within the unit 1. So within unit 1, what we covered on day 1 of unit 1 is right there. Okay, so it does not have to specifically be a lesson. It is simply just a subfolder. If we go to create new, you'll notice it no longer says new lesson, it says new folder, and that's just the name for the third level down subfolder. So I click that and just call this, Shakespeare. Say we covered that on day 1. You'll notice that there are now 3 different layers of folders. So if I was a student, I open that up and go, okay, on day 1, I want to go to the resources when we talked about Shakespeare. I click there, and I can add things into this folder. That's as many layers as you can have. You can't have there's no such thing as a 4th subfolder, so there are always 3 that you can kind of play around with. The other thing I'll note, that at the time of this video, it's very important you do not write on the folders. So you can do that on any of these folders by going up to the three dots and go to edit, and you can actually type in the folder. So test, press save, and it will actually show it there. I would say if you're gonna write on the folder, it's a brief description of maybe what's in the folder. The reason it's important not to write on it is students who are using the Pulse app are not able to see what's written on it. In addition, if you are tracking what students are clicking on in the content experience, there's a way to kind of track progress. You can't actually track progress if it's just written on the folder. So in general, you always want to add your items within the folder, as I'll show in a second. So let's go to day 1. I want to add in this folder. You can add to whatever one just by clicking on it. I'm going to go back to that Create New button. And again, there's a few other things you can add. You can add an HTML document, which is a fancy name for a blank document. So if you are building out new content within Brightspace, and you're creating a whole lesson or a whole resource page, you can do that just by clicking there and actually building it out right in Brightspace. You can create a web link, which will actually link within Brightspace, so that when you click this, it'll actually show, it'll load the page within Brightspace, so the students never have to leave. You can also create a new assignment, discussion, or quiz, all within this tool as well. So if I click this, it would actually go into the assignment creator and make a new assignment and link it. Okay, so that's that Create New button. The other option you have is the Add Existing button, and this is probably the one you're going to use more often if you're using the VLE in a blended learning environment, because a lot of the resources you probably already have made, and those are handouts that you're giving out to students, and you just want to provide a second digital copy to them, so those resources are already all made. In that case, you would just go to Add Existing. So let's say, again, I click on day 1, I want to put it in this folder. I go to Add Existing, and you get a few different options from that other button. So you can actually load things right from your OneDrive, and it will bring in a copy of it and link right to it. You can bring in things and link to your Google Drive if you're a Google Drive user. You could also link to existing assignments, discussions, and quizzes. So this doesn't create new ones. This is linking to ones that already exist. So if I click on assignment, I have a test assignment that's already been made. I can link right to it in my content area. Okay, and the most popular one that you're probably going to use is this part right here, where if you click browse, you can bring in PDFs, documents, PowerPoints, all that good stuff right from your computer, and it will load a copy into Brightspace. And this is where, again, a lot of blended learning teachers are just going to bring in their existing content versus making new. So you're going to be using that Add Existing and go right down to this area right here, and it will add it into the day 1 folder. But because I didn't click on Shakespeare, it won't add it into that one. It's going to add it into this layer. So it all depends on the button that you're clicking on. That's the key overview of how to use sort of the 2 different areas as well as these existing buttons. If you'd like to explore how to best organize your content, you can find that information in the VLE PLE as another video.